The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, soft swinging, excommunication, and a lot of harsh judgment. What are our thoughts?
What do you think?
What do I think?
So many thoughts.
Mended
About
light.
nonsense.
This is bringing out a real fiery side of you, and I am here for it.
This is so exciting!
Usually I'm the one who's getting mad at this stuff. So we did a video reacting just to the concept and the trailer of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Now we've got two clips that we're going to look at. I've watched the show, Alicia hasn't. We want to... Wouldn't and will not.
I will never do that.
I wanted to address a bit of how our faith community is misrepresented, because a lot of you, whatever your community is misrepresented. We want to hear what's the difference between pop culture and reality, but also wanted to talk about some relationship skills when it comes to judgment versus community and how we can get through our hard times, because wouldn't you know it, not the healthiest examples on this reality show.
Well, reality shows are so accurate. It's what they're known for. And so is social media, right? It's just a beacon of integrity and real depth.
Yeah, well, speaking of social media, we got a question from one of our fans who asked, my only question is this show worth checking out? Or is it just going to make me as uncomfortable as the title and the cover art does? If it is a genuine look at Latter-day Saint marriage and family, I'll check it out. But if it's glitter-covered garbage, I'm out.
I will answer this. It is glitter-covered garbage, and it is completely inaccurate. I'm not saying that it might not be accurate for these individuals.
Yeah.
But as a whole,
as a representation.
No,
Right.
It is completely inaccurate. As someone who grew up in Nevada and you grew up in Arizona, and we've raised our kids in Utah, and we've lived
all over the world, yeah.
All over the world. So inaccurate. And the fact that, like, they try to, that they peddle it as some sort of quality something or some accurate depiction of LDS family life is real annoying.
But if you like glitter-covered garbage, this is your show.
Oh, it is.
So we're gonna peer into the lives with some soft swinging, some talk of excommunication, and some sexual conversations that we're going to bleep a bunch of it out, but you'll get the gist.
Do you think I'm a bad person?
It's her mom.
Mistakes that I did? I don't think you're a bad person. I just think that you've done a lot of bad things and that have made you look bad.
Okay.
I knew to pause right there because I knew.
I have this conversation with my children, right? They're like, well, this is good and this is bad. And in this situation, if this was my child I was talking to, or if my child asked me this question, I would say, do you feel like those choices you made supported you in being who you wanted to be? Do you feel like the choices you are making right now are serving you and being the highest and best version of yourself? Because it doesn't matter whether I tell you it's good or bad. What matters is your internal compass, and what matters is your internal morality and integrity.
Right.
And if you are living true to who you feel like you are.
Now, I've got a therapy note.
Yeah.
Springboarding off of what you were saying. If you want somebody to be defensive, to push back and do the opposite of what you are advising them to do, tell them that what they are doing or have done is bad. If you tell someone that what they're doing is bad, they're going to tell you why it was good, why it was justified, why it was okay. That's why I love your question, was it supportive? Who do you want to be, and was this supportive of that? Because I get in therapy all the time. If I tell somebody that what they did was wrong or bad, then I'm triggering a debate. Whereas if I say, okay, so tell me what you're trying to accomplish, or tell me who you're trying to be, and then I say, is this working? Most people will push back if you tell them they're wrong or if they're bad. But if you ask, is this working? Most people can admit, no, no, it's not. And her mother, who may be well-meaning, is all but guaranteeing that her daughter continues to make the choices she's been making, because we have this innate drive inside of us to not be told what to do.
Also, we have an innate drive to be loved, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to the unconditional love conversation of, if I don't have unconditional love, I'm going to try and earn it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and earn it or protect from losing it in any way that I can. And if I'm being told my worth as a person is associated directly with my actions, well, then I'm going to lie. I'm going to attack. I'm going to victim blame. I'm going to cling. Like, I'm going to do all these things to try and create perceived safety and perceived belonging for myself.
Yes. All right.
Have you talked to your bishop or the church about anything?
No.
No? How come?
I don't know, because, like, what if they're going to, like, excommunicate me?
Hey, when you are out soft swinging, what do you expect?
With all this soft swinging, what does that mean?
That's the next clip, but the short version is soft swinging is where you exchange partners, but you don't actually have sex. You just do other sexual type acts.
Oh, well, that's good.
But if it could lead to pregnancy, you don't do it.
Oh.
But all sorts of other stuff. This is not just unique to our culture. This is true of a lot of different cultures. Is people try and find loopholes in the rules to do what they want to do, which begs the question: well, if this isn't what you want to do, why? Like Mormonism, right? Or
why are you doing it?
Right. If this isn't what you want to do, why are you doing it? And of course, the answer in the series is because they're in Utah, and there's a strong cultural component of, I don't want my family to be judged, or I still want to be part of the church because it's what we do here. There are people in our faith, just like in a lot of different churches, where it's more cultural than actually heartfelt or founded in this is who I am or who I want to be or what I believe. It's more the fear of the stigma or the judgment or just I want to retain this part of my identity. You see a lot of cultural people who claim it culturally but not spiritually on the show. Because when the mom says, have you talked to the church or to your bishop? She says, well, I don't want them to excommunicate me. This is Taylor. Taylor says a couple minutes later.
Clarify what that means. Like, like your names are taken off the records of the church and you're no longer considered a member. That doesn't mean you're not welcome to come to church or participate in a lot of activities on a social level. Or
even a spiritual level if you're there to worship. But the notion of excommunication is a controversial one for a lot of people, but I'll lay it down pretty simply. If I am in a Star Trek fan club, but I talk all the time about how great Star Wars is and Star Trek sucks, and I show up to the Star Trek club, instead of doing this, I show up going vroom, vroom, vroom. They're going to be like, hey, this fan club has like a specific reason for existing, and that doesn't seem to be like who you are or what you want. So I don't know that you should claim it anymore, right? That's kind of what it is. And if you want to claim it, like go back and watch The Next Generation and come in here talking about Picard, right? So maybe that's not the best example. The reason I think for Taylor it's cultural or social is a couple scenes later, she's talking about how she wants to drink and she wants to party and she doesn't want to go to church.
Oh, well, then it's like, why are you professing standards you don't actually want to live by? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no judgment of that. But to her,
some people will judge. Don't get me wrong.
We won't.
Some people will judge.
Yeah, we won't. But that's the whole thing of that conversation. So we have a question from one of you. What is the purpose of sex in the faith? The women on this show are very sexual, which sexuality is beautiful. But in Latter-day Saint faith, sexuality is reserved for marriage. And that's not at all what's going on in this community. No. And so clearing up, what is the purpose of sex in the Latter-day Saint faith?
The question continues, is it to unite a couple, bonding, and strengthen marriage in addition to procreation? This show makes it look like it's about making one's partner subservient. So
there's doctrine, and then there's always, in any group, you will find people who twist things to their own ends. There are definitely people in our faith, men in particular, who try to make their wives subservient to them, especially sexually. That is not the teaching or the doctrine.
No, and those who do that are a vast minority, but that's not to say it's never happened or it doesn't happen.
Sex is what that person laid out. It's meant to be bonding. It's meant to be beautiful. We're not really a casual sex people, but we are a meaningful connection-based sex people. And that's what the belief system revolves around in that area is, yes, creating life, but also bonding and eternal partnership.
And doctrinally, it is done within marriage and not outside of marriage.
Yes. And I would say that, one thing I guess that is kind of accurate about the show is we're still people, so it still happens. Things happen outside of marriage. But the whole Secret Lives of Mormon Wives thing, I take issue with the title because this is not representative.
No.
So now we're going to watch Whitney skipping Taylor's baby shower. Taylor's pregnant. She's not married. Whitney's got her own stuff going on, but she decides to stick it to Taylor.
Oh, is Whitney not here yet?
I don't know.
Fashionably late.
Is she coming? Last night I was with her and she's not coming.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, did she tell her?
That's totally stage line
I
reading.
told her maybe she should, but she said that Taylor's probably not even gonna notice.
I am shocked that Whitney is not coming to the baby shower. At the same time, I know she's not a big fan of Taylor right now, so it doesn't surprise me, but she should at least send her a text. I feel like this is sending a message to Taylor that she does not want to be friends and she does not care about Taylor.
Did she say why?
I don't want to go into like too much detail, but she just says that she just doesn't want to be involved with Taylor.
So this other friend is smiling about this like it's juicy drama. There's not a lot of compassion there.
They seem like really solid friendship group
Yeah.
to support you in going through hard experiences and challenges in your life.
Yeah.
Because we are sisters.
Just real salt of the earth people that you can rely on.
You know, there are plenty of people who in our faith and in other faiths have experienced harsh judgment for not living up to the standards or living up to the beliefs. I think it's important to recognize that anytime, especially if you're dealing with any type of Christianity, that when someone meets another person with judgment, with scorn, with cruelty, that they're not practicing the core tenets of their faith. Yeah. And that is also true for us. And so obviously, in our faith community, there are people who are cruel and who are petty and who are self-righteous. But for us, Jesus Christ is central to everything, and he taught to love others, to not judge, to be merciful, to recognize that you'd be judged by the standard that you're judging everybody else, that love covers a multitude of sins, like a whole host of things. He was always compassionate. The only people he was harsh with were religious hypocrites. And so I watch this and it makes my skin crawl a little bit because it's not representative of the people that I know or the way that I know that you try to live and that I try to live.
Yeah. Well, and it isn't representative of the vast majority. It's, as a previous question stated, glitter covered garbage.
This is the worst.
Now, one of our Mended Light community this is just taking it out of you just to be involved with the show. As someone who lives in Utah, I freaking love seeing this. I feel as if there is a fake perfect facade that hangs over LDS people with people like me who are not part of the community. Seeing people's imperfections like this brings it back to reality for me that we're all just humans. Do you think that the media portrayal of this is more or less accurate than LDS people might lead others to believe? I do feel like in our faith community and in others, there is like, we were Instagram families before there was Instagram. You know, people show up and they really want to be perceived as having their act together. They really want to be perceived as good. I think that has less to do with faith and more to do with human nature. I think with human nature, we want to be, talking about worth ties.
Yeah, it's all that same conversation.
Right, we want to be seen, loved, accepted, belong. We want to be admired. In religious communities, it just takes on a specific flavor of the way to be seen, loved, and admired is how well am I walking up to these beliefs? Yeah. While I don't really rejoice over any of this, I do think it's important to remember that everybody you deal with is just a person. And if you felt judged or ostracized by members of our faith community, then we apologize because that's not what we're about.
And regardless of the choices other people make and how those choices affect you, you can always choose to stand up in authenticity of who you are and in integrity of who you are. And recognize that the people that put up the fake facade, it's because of their deeply held insecurities.
Yes.
And while the insecurities might not be as easy to see, that is what is going on. And choosing to be empathetic of those deeply held insecurities and see that their life, while they work so hard to earn their worth and show their perceived value, that is such a soft foundation. That's like, it's building your life on sand. That's incredibly lonely and exhausting.
Yeah. Something that we appreciate about all of you is as we talk about creating a place of welcoming, a place of belonging, a place of being seen and accepted and loved for who you are, that is how we see you show up in the comments and on our membership site and in our therapy groups. And we see people showing up this way for one another. we have a beautiful community here, and we want to thank you for helping us to create that. Now, speaking of belonging and love, we've got a video on finding your worth, where we dive deep into what's keeping us from believing in our own goodness and how to lay hold upon that. And that's going to show up right here on screen somewhere. Until next time, folks, keep shining.
We need your light.